Okay, everybody, welcome to Scranton City Council's caucus before our regular meeting. Today is September 8th, 2020. Hope everybody's doing well. We have with us tonight attorney or city solicitor Joe O'Brien. One of the things that we talked about last week that we introduced on our agenda was the intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the city and the county for the collection of delinquent property taxes. So Attorney O'Brien, I will turn it over to you to give us an update on that, and then we'll ask any questions that we have.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Okay. I think everything is on the road to getting that done very quickly. I had an email exchange with Frank Ruggiero today. He understands that effective 1 January 2021, the delinquent real estate tax collection will be turned over to the county to go through their system, which begins with liens and sales and judicial sales and the inventory sales and all the type of things they go to sell property. They're charged 5%, is less than 15% that's charged by NRS. And I think they're a more efficient operation. The one issue is the question of, are we also going to have them collect delinquent refuse fees? Now, to do so, it's got to be on the tax bill. It was not on the 2020 tax bill, so we can't turn it over to them yet. We could put it on the 2021 tax bill, and then it would be turned over to them to begin to collect that when it's delinquent in 2022. I hate to be so confusing with the years, but of course it's not delinquent till the year's over. One thing that we're thinking about, and I think it's the mayor's conclusion, though I think she wants council to weigh in on it too. I think we'd like to put that off, not for a half a year, but for a year and a half. Wayne Beck says that the delinquent refuse fee collection for the city is very complicated because we have a sophisticated ordinance and we have so many apartment units and so many people claiming exemptions from the refuse fee because the apartment was empty or was being remodeled or it was condemned or who knows what reason. He thinks that the Tax Claim Bureau, which kind of just shuffles paper there, they're not really equipped to answer all the calls and take all the objections about refuse fees. So he suggests that we wait a year, we do that ourselves for a year, and just kind of get an idea whether this is the type of thing that would be turned over to the county. Now, to do ourselves, we mean this, that we'll hire a new private collector. I have a request for proposals that's ready to go for a new private collector, Portnoy or one of these other companies, for them to come in for 1 year or possibly 2 at our discretion to collect the delinquent refuse fees while we study the system and make a determination whether this is the right thing to go to the county. So that's where we are now. And I don't know enough about it. I think the guy who knows the most about it is Wayne Beck. He's a professional, and he said, don't jump into this too fast. Said there are a lot of complications. So we're going to have to study it. We'll have a new private refuse collector on board for 2021, collecting the 2020 and past delinquents. We will study his efforts during the year and then kind of decide mid-2021 whether or not to put it on the 2022 tax bill or to keep it as is with a private collector. Is that... and I think that Frank Ruggiero understands that. I think everybody's happy with it.
Well, this is Bill Gaughan, Attorney O'Brien. My only question would be, what would prevent the city from getting the refuse bill on the real estate tax bill for 2021?
Nothing. Good question. Nothing, though. What my thought is, well, all it is a telephone call to the printer. That's not going to be a problem. I did ask Wayne. He said, absolutely no problem. The question is, do we want to make that decision right away, or do we want the benefit of a year of private collection with a collector that we can trust, a collector that we can work with, and we can decide whether or not this is really too complicated for the County Tax Claim Bureau?
Well,
that's my thought.
Yeah.
But if everybody wants to do it, we can do it in 2021.
Yeah, I'm just speaking for myself now, but to me, it would, if we can do it for 2021, it would make sense to work with the county in that way, only because I'm sure that, their fee is 5%. I'm sure that's going to be less than a private company. And did,
That is
maybe,
correct. That
right.
is correct.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion, that it would make more sense to go with the county sooner rather than to wait a year. If it's easy enough is to make a phone call, but I don't know how everybody else feels about that.
Well, Bill, you are correct. It is not difficult, and it can be done, and it's just a question of that we should do, and that's the decision of the elected officials.
Okay, and do you think it would be
Not
beneficial,
the solution.
yeah, do you think it would be beneficial to have a meeting with the county prior to final passage next week with myself, you, Solicitor Hayes, the mayor, and anyone else who'd like to be involved, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page here before we have final passage next week? And then we
Yeah,
can
I think
also,
so. So definitely, we should definitely have a meeting with the county shortly after final passage, if not before, because we're going to, one issue I think that we're going to have to talk about is, in light of the problem we had with the cyber attack and all the new work that our communications office is doing, I'm not so sure that we shouldn't, spend 10 or 15 grand on a consultant to help us transfer the data. I just don't know, with all the work that they have in there rebuilding the system and everything, whether or not they're going to have the time. They say they are, but I don't know. I don't know whether our computer department will have the time to do the work necessary. We want to get that data transferred right away so the county will be up and running. Now that our office has done it before, Frank was in charge of the Abrahamson transition when the Abrahamson records were transferred to NRS, and that, like this one, there was everybody wasn't a happy camper in that one. So he knows how to deal with the unhappy transferors. But so that's we can talk to the county. I'll talk to Ruggiero and Brian Jeffers and Joe Joyce and see whether they prefer a meeting right before, or right after, and whatever everybody wants, we can do.
okay, that's
But
great.
definitely, we
And
have to have definitely the elected officials and the heads of the departments have to have a meeting, either right before it's passed or right after.
and in terms of the refuse fee, the county collecting the delinquent refuse fees, would there have to be any additional language, an amendment at this point added into this legislation to include language to that effect? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, it's not necessary. The county, as long as it's on the tax bill, the county collects it, because that makes it a tax. There will, I think, have to be action by council before the end of the year. If you want to put it on the 2021 tax bill, council should approve that. But we're not going to need any amendments to the agreement. We discussed that. That had been raised by, I think it was you, Bill, or maybe somebody else from council. And I checked that with the county people and their positions. No, as long as it's on the tax bill, that's fine. We collect taxes, and if it's on the tax bill, we collect it.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions for Attorney O'Brien?
I don't have a question, but I agree with you, Billy. The sooner the better, the cheaper the better. And, time is always our enemy whenever we're looking at anything. So I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add that there were, last year when it was brought up, there were a couple issues with putting the refuse fee onto the tax bill. So those would just have to be worked out in terms of the,
you're talking
way
about
the parcels are sent.
Yeah, there are some issues there. And Wayne Beck is the guy who's raised those. So we think we can do it by January if that's your instructions.
That would be my preference if it can be done. I just think that makes more sense than going with a private collector for a year. And, the city would stand to gain more if we could do this right away, I think.
Yeah, if we don't do it, we have 2 years of a private collector as opposed to 1.
Right.
So now I know Wayne was staying on for a little bit. How much longer is he on with us?
He's leaving, though he did, in a conversation with me, agree to help us through this issue. I think he's tried to leave a couple of times. He's a smart fella, and he's knowledgeable, and I think he's loyal. But he did say, he said, whatever you need, I can help you through this.
So
And I'll
Joe,
just be sitting on my deck drinking coffee, so I'll help you through this issue.
so Joe, do you think it would be a good idea that he join that meeting as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I consider him a department, I think department heads, elected officials who can attend department heads should definitely, the people who are going to be responsible to carry it out should be at that meeting, both sides.
Kevin, did you have a question?
I was just going to say, so we'll reach out to the county, Joe O'Brien and I will, and see what their availability is this week, because I know they're meeting, I think they're voting on final passage of the intergovernmental agreement on the 15th, and this may not, as Joe indicated, this may not require an amendment to that agreement. But nevertheless, we'll see what their availability is this week to meet Frank Ruggiero, I guess, whoever else the commissioners want, Joe Joyce, Wayne Beck, Mrs. Sheridan, and whoever from council wants to attend.
Okay. Anyone else have any?
We only could have 2 representatives from council there, though.
And I think if we're going to discuss anything along the lines of putting the refuse onto the property tax bill, we should probably have someone from the assessor's office too, because I believe they're the ones
Joe
that take
Joyce,
the list.
definitely. The head of the
Joe
office.
Joyce.
Oh, absolutely. He's a knowledgeable guy. He's the guy, and he's the guy. I think when I talk to Ruggiero, I think he goes to Joyce.
Right.
Okay. Is there any other questions on this legislation for Attorney O'Brien?
I think possibly other than getting some of the collection rates down. Does anybody know collection rates offhand?
Councilman, 5%, that's statutory, correct, Joe? 5% collection rate?
5% is the county's charge, statutory. 15% was NRS, and so you have a 10% savings there. What if, when we get somebody to do it next year, what their percent will be, I don't know, but I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what we get in the way of bids.
Okay. I don't think there's any other questions, Attorney O'Brien. So I want to thank you for coming and give us an update, and we'll look forward to this meeting and voting final passage next week. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Joe.
Thank you. Okay, everybody. Just a couple things on the agenda tonight. We do have 3 new items in 5th order. We have a resolution with cooperation agreement with Lackawanna County reimbursement for the COVID-19 related expenses. We have a resolution from the Scranton Lackawanna Health and Welfare Authority, and we have an introduction of a resolution to provide engineering services for the 2020 roadway improvement project. So those are the 3 agenda related items. Does anybody have any questions on the agenda or anything that they want to bring up in the caucus on that? No? Okay. Tom, do you have anything?
Yeah, I was looking, did we get any of the revenue numbers? We've been promised the revenue numbers for a while, and I don't know if any of them came in. I feel like last school board meeting, they mentioned that the district may have gotten some of those.
Yeah, we didn't hear back from the administration yet. I did mention last week having another meeting similar to the one that we had on June 10th when the business administrator came in and gave us an update. But I agree with you that that should be done sooner rather than later. So I'm hoping that by next week we'll hear something.
Yeah, I feel like the district might have said they got some numbers by the 12th of August. I don't know if that's accurate, but I'm pretty sure that's what was said. Other than that, the mayor hasn't issued any more of an emergency proclamation or declaration, has she?
No, we would get that would be in 3rd order on our agenda.
Okay, I mean, I saw the emergency piece there, and is it safe to assume that we're following the state? They just recently renewed for another 90 days.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't think we've, Councilman, I don't think that we've suspended the normal rules because of the any emergency declaration. I believe the mayor's last emergency declaration has expired, so we have to go through the normal process.
Okay,
Chairman, yeah. I'll confirm that, the date that expired, but as far as I'm concerned, we're not under an emergency order. Right,
okay,
Joe?
Yeah, no, we're not. I don't believe we are.
All right, thank you.
And Bill, we used to get the an single tax office disbursement report. We used to get that monthly, and I don't think that's come through in the last couple of months.
Yeah,
Right.
we
You
got one.
remember getting those, right?
Yeah, it's 3F tonight on the agenda.
Is it? Yes.
Yep.
Sorry, it is.
Yeah, that's okay. So if you're looking at that, obviously it's we're down in every category: real estate, delinquent real estate, LST, EMS, and business privilege and mercantile tax. So total, we compared to last year, through the end of August, we're down about $633,000 total. So, and my guess is similar to when the administration was in June. That's more than likely due to the effects of the pandemic. Any other questions on agenda items?
I don't have on agenda items for this meeting, but I have a question on something from a past meeting. So
Sure.
if no one else has anything. I wanted to inquire about something we were voting on prior to the August recess. And so on our agenda for July 28th, it was 7I, and it was ratifying and approving the execution and submission of an application by the city of Scranton, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Secretary of Health, requesting a certificate of approval, confirming the city of Scranton's ability to establish a municipal Department of Health. And I thought we were waiting on some answers regarding that. Solicitor Hayes, have you received anything from the administration about that piece of legislation?
Right. My understanding is we tabled that legislation.
Yeah.
And
That's what I thought.
the request was, my feeling was that the city of Scranton didn't qualify for the creation of a Department of Health under the statute that they cited in that proposed resolution, and that it needed to go through the county. And we tabled that, and my understanding was that they were going to come back with us with a proposal. The idea that I think the consensus among council was that we were fine if they wanted to create an exploratory committee to see if some type of Department of Health was feasible or needed, but nothing else came back as far as I know. Lori, is that correct? We tabled that legislation?
That is correct. That legislation remains tabled.
Okay, Lori, do you think we would be able to send additional correspondence, just reminding them of it? Maybe it just fell on the back burner.
Sure, certainly.
Okay, great. The only other thing I had that I wanted to bring up was I would like to reschedule the meeting the week of election in November. So I know it's only September 8th, but it comes quick. So we'll just have to think if maybe by next week, if everyone could, give us a day that you will be free to meet. I think the last time we had to reschedule a Tuesday meeting, we moved it to Monday, but I don't know what everybody else's schedule looks like. So anything works for me. So Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I have a preference towards Thursday night.
Okay.
I work with patients Monday and Wednesdays until 8 o'clock at night as of now. So I don't know if that'll change, but I'd have to request time off of that job for a meeting. So I don't know if that works for others, but I guess keep that in mind.
Thursday works for me. If that works for Mark, Tom, and Kyle, and Kevin, and Lori, and Kathy, and Tom, Mark, does that work for you? Thursday?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, Monday's the best day for me, but it doesn't matter.
Okay. Kyle, is that good with you? Kevin?
Thursday is good.
I think
It's gonna
Kyle.
throw Lori into a.
Lori, is that good with you?
Actually, Monday is the best day as far as workflow because of deadlines advertising, posting. Monday actually makes the best sense, but I understand, of course, we do what's best for the council. But thank you, Kevin.
Okay.
Thursday works best for me too. Or I could do Monday, either or.
And it's far enough in advance that I could figure something out. But we could think on it some more.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll send an email out to everybody and we'll decide. Monday's probably the best according to Lori, but yeah, Jess, I'll send something out and we'll figure it out. Okay, let me see, what else do I have here? The only other thing, I talked briefly with the mayor this afternoon. She's gonna send something out to set up budget meetings with us. Now, in the past, and Kyle can attest to this, council really wasn't involved in the budget process until November when we received the budget, and it was on our agenda. Now, I've had conversations with the mayor in the past that we really do need to change this so that we're not receiving the budget for the first time November 15th or on that week. It makes much more sense to know what's going on in advance. So we're not really sure. This is what I want to talk to all of you about over the next week or two, what that's going to look like. But I did want to give you a heads up that they are planning on probably reaching out to each one of us individually and meeting with us just to give us an update on where we are. And then of course to have a public meeting with the financial projections like we did in June. Okay. So that's that. We did receive an update on the Serenity Center, so everybody should have saw that in their emails. Just I asked for a breakdown of the figures and what's been spent to date. So Mr. Dealey did provide that, which I appreciate. And other than that, I don't really have anything. Does anyone else have anything for the good of the order?
Just say I was happy to hear. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go, Tom.
I was happy to see that from Mr. Dealey. I don't know. That's just what was spent on it in the recent months, correct?
No, I think that's total.
Oh, that's the total. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, just to pick up where we left off of before the break, did we get any information on the backhoe that we asked about?
Kevin, I don't think we did
Oh.
today. Yeah.
No.
And that's the reason we tabled it. I did talk to the mayor today and that did come up in our conversation, Tom, because that is one of the items that has been tabled since before the break. I think what they're going to do is, or what I had requested was that they put something in writing to the, lost my train of thought, Keystone Sanitary Landfill, to ask them if they have record of it, because apparently the city does not. That's my understanding.
And the one thing I was just asking for was the man hours on the machine. So if that could be included in that, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you.
Kevin, did you have anything else?
Two items that council members had reached out to me about. The first item was, as you know, I serve as solicitor for the Borough Clark Summit, and at our council meeting last week, the council passed a resolution related to the overland transportation of liquefied natural gas from a proposed processing facility in Bradford County that would purportedly travel through Lackawanna County on rail car and truck. The plan at the processing center has already been approved by DEP, and a lot of the governmental approvals are already in place. The one last remaining governmental approval would have to be obtained through the Delaware River Basin Commission for the transport of that liquefied natural gas to a facility in New Jersey. If the Delaware River Basin Commission denies that application, then the thought is that there would be no need for it to have overland transportation through our communities here. So I don't know if anybody wants me to go ahead and start putting together a resolution for the city of Scranton, but I'll be happy to do that.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. I had read the articles in the newspaper, and it is definitely concerning. Now, do we know? I was looking at the map, but it's hard to tell if it comes directly through
That's
the
what I'm trying to
city.
figure out too.
Yeah, it looks like it's kind of right on the edge. But even if it's not, I still think that we should stand together with the other boroughs and municipalities that this is going to run through, because I think it would affect the city either way.
Okay. I'll circulate a proposed resolution for
Okay.
council members to give me their thoughts on.
Solicitor Hayes, do we know how that's being transported, how natural gas out of our area is being transported currently?
Well, I think now it's being transported in its gas form. So what this does is, in order to avoid having to install a pipeline, which that was the plan of to install a major pipeline, but I think it's met resistance from some of the neighboring states. In order to avoid that, they're converting the gas into a liquefied form, and then they can transport that in mass quantities by way of truck or rail car. The problem with that is it poses great risk if there's ever an accident that it could be catastrophic. That's really the concern here, is that we're going to have it coming over state roads and on state rail or on rails, and it could there's great risk.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Does anybody have anything that they would like to discuss before the regular meeting?
The Councilman Gaughan, I know someone had reached out to me about, there was a notice in the paper yesterday that there was an application for a cell tower to be placed on Alphen Avenue in Alphen Avenue, somewhere near, I guess, Park Gardens. That application was actually deemed approved by the zoning hearing board. I reached out to the zoning hearing board solicitor, and he indicated the reason it was deemed approved is that the zoning hearing board really had not met from March through, I guess, last week. And if you don't act upon these appeals, these applications within a certain period of time, they're deemed admitted or deemed approved. And that's why
Right.
that went through without any public comment or without any opportunity for the members of the public to voice their support or opposition to the application. So that's what happened there.
Yeah, I do know how unpopular cell phone towers are in neighborhoods, and how many people from a few years ago spoke out against them. So that really is really unfortunate. I know a few years ago there was a proposal to put one at Naog Park that met heavy resistance, and then there was also one in Manuka, a zoning board hearing where I think it seemed like everyone in Manuka had come out. So to me, is there any recourse there, or is that just a done deal at this point?
I don't know. I don't know if they. Nobody intervened during the process, so I don't know that if there'd be any recourse for the neighborhood at all. From my understanding is the zoning hearing board had not worked out a means to meet virtually from March through September,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is an application that just because they didn't act upon it is deemed admitted or deemed approved rather.
Okay.
I'll let you know if there's any recourse. I don't think so offhand though.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have anything else? Okay. I don't have anything else, so we'll adjourn this caucus until 6:30, and then we will reconvene. Okay, I'd like to call this public meeting to order. If everyone would please stand now for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world, and also for all those who have passed away recently in our community. As we have been now for the better part of the last year, we'll take a special moment of silence tonight for people in our community and throughout the world who are suffering or who have passed away from the coronavirus. May those who are sick receive the proper treatment and recover, and may May their caregivers, families, and neighbors be shielded from the onslaught of this virus. Let us give solace to those who grieve the loss of their loved ones. Let us thank the doctors, nurses, researchers, and all medical professionals and first responders who seek to heal and help those affected and who put themselves at risk in the process. We continue to hope that their work may conquer this disease and restore communities to wholeness and health. Whether we are home or abroad, surrounded by many people suffering from this illness or only a few, let us stick together, endure together, mourn together, persist and prepare together, and in place of our anxiety, let us continue to hope and find peace. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Carrera, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster? Mr. Schuster? Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Dr. Rothchild?
I'm here. I'm just having some technical issues, but I'll be back on camera in a moment.
Mr. Donahue?
Here.
Mr. Gaughan?
Here, thank you. And let the record reflect, we do know that Councilman Schuster is here. He must just be having technical difficulties. Mrs. Reed, please dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Thank you. Third order. 3A, emergency declaration issued by Mayor Paige G. Cognetti, received August 28, 2020, regarding the August 23rd cyber attack. 3B, correspondence received from the Office of Economic and Community Development, dated August 31, 2020, regarding COVID-19 reimbursements through Lackawanna County CARES Act funding. 3C, correspondence received from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, dated July 29, 2020, regarding revalidated letters of map change for the city. 3D, resume received from Scranton Municipal Recreation Authority appointee. 3E, letter of resignation from Ethics Board member Mary Jo Sheridan. 3F, single tax office city funds distributed comparison report, 2019-2020, year to date August 31, 2020. 3G, minutes of the regular meeting of the Scranton Redevelopment Authority held August 5, 2020.
Thank you, Mrs. Reed. Are there any comments on any of the third order items? I have one comment just on 3F, the single tax office report. As I mentioned in the caucus tonight, it is very concerning to see that in all categories, real estate, delinquent real estate, LST and EMS, and business privilege and mercantile tax, that the city is down from where we were at this time last year through the end of August, to the tune of $632,617.85. I do think it's very important, as Councilman Schuster and I discussed in the caucus, that the administration come to a public caucus as they did in June and give us an update on the overall financial health of the city in terms of the effect that the pandemic has had. So I am looking forward to that as soon as possible. I know that we did send out a request for that meeting, and we'll keep everybody updated on that. Any other comments on third order items? If not, received and filed. Do any council members have any announcements at this time?
I have one. This is a reminder. So this Saturday, September 12th, from 1 to 6, St. Stephen's Booster Club will be having their drive-through chicken dinner. Unfortunately, this is the only way they can raise money this year because of restrictions with COVID. So the donation's $10. I have tickets right here. I got my tickets already. You can actually go without tickets. I'll probably send my daughters at halftime during the Notre Dame Duke game to pick up our dinner. So please help these guys out. They really need the money. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, Mrs. Reed.
Excuse me, fourth order, citizens participation.
Thank you, Mrs. Reed. We have received public comment from Marie Schumacher and Faye Franis. So I'd ask that one of the council members please make a motion to accept public comment from Ms. Schumacher and Ms. Franis at this time.
Make a motion to accept public comment.
I'll second.
On the question? I'm going to ask our city clerk to read the comments received from Ms. Schumacher and Ms. Franis into the public record at this time.
Thank you. The first comment received was from Marie Schumacher, and it reads as follows. If you read today's Times Tribune, you may have noticed the article, U.S. debt till soon exceed entire economy. So I believe you realize the federal government would be unwise to go further into debt to fill Scranton's tin cup. May I suggest it is time to do one or both of the following. Number one, ask the Commonwealth's Governor Wolf to stop playing dictator and allow all businesses to open. And number two, sharpen your pencils and get to work on a bare bones budget. The second comment is from Faye Franis, and it reads as follows. Council, number one, I appreciate that you are allowing questions from the public to be read aloud for the public hearing on the capital budget September 16. My question to all of you is, why are you still not allowing our questions to be read aloud during the council meetings? Every week you say fourth order citizens participation, then you never read our questions and comments. That is also supposed to be public, but not when you don't allow the public to hear. Number two, how many city inspectors are furloughed? Number three, how many city inspectors are working every day? Number four, who is in charge of making sure owners of rental properties have them registered? How many people are working on getting properties registered? Comment on question number four. We have been hearing about properties not being registered to landlords for years, yet the mayor is saying we are working on it. Really? Now I'm going to enclose Mayor Cognetti's comments from a recent article in the Scranton Times by Chris Kelly about this absentee landlord, Ken Bond, who has none of his numerous properties registered. Scranton Mayor Paige Gebhardt Cognetti sent an inspector to the property Friday morning. He was greeted with huge chunks of the building's stucco siding that fell off in a recent rainstorm and still lay in a pile where they landed. The mayor said the inspector did not assess that the building should be condemned, but the city is connecting tenants with free legal help and monitoring the situation closely. Given that all of Bond's apartments are unregistered and illegal, why can't the city just shut him down? Such a move would likely involve numerous legal hurdles and would definitely come with unintended consequences, the mayor said. If we did that, where would tenants go? She said. We have a lot of work to do to get our house in order and clean up the way we track things and respond to things on the legal end. We've really beefed up our legal team and we're working to fix a broken system. We are making progress. Additional comment. So I say to you, council, I am certain that you will back up anything the mayor wants. So far, you have not challenged her, except Kyle Donahue once in a while. It seems Mayor Cognetti is using the excuse about it may cost the city money in legal fees if we go after Ken Bond not registering his properties, and who knows what else she is worried about. Allow me to remind you, you work for the people, as does the mayor. We pay you. Apparently, all of you must have forgotten about the lawsuit pending that we, the people, have against the city for charging us way too much money for our garbage fee because we are paying for the thousands who do not pay, like Ken Bond. You should care more and worry more about all of us who are paying our taxes and care less about Ken Bond and all others who are not paying their taxes and fees. Where will those tenants go, the mayor asks. That is their problem, not ours, not yours. They should research landlords before renting. That is their responsibility. You need to worry about the taxpayers that are keeping the city afloat as much as humanly possible by paying our taxes every year and our garbage fee every year. For years, I have been after this city to go after people in neighborhoods who pay their garbage fee. Still nothing done. Thousands of dollars lost to the city because you do not enforce your laws. We work hard to make sure our bills are paid. May I remind you, there is a law in this city that states that anyone who does not pay their garbage fee, the Department of Public Works does not have to pick up their garbage. Another law you do not choose to enforce. You cannot say because people will put their garbage in bags and that is unsafe. Because council passed a law last November stating all garbage cans must have lids on them. Another law you choose not to enforce. Every member of council should concentrate on having city departments condemning buildings that are not obeying city codes and go after landlords that do not have their properties registered. Stop protecting the people who break city laws and help the people who obey your city laws. Do you believe you can possibly do this for once? Do you wonder why people have lost faith in their city government? Mayor Cognetti's remarks in Chris Kelly article says it all. Help the unlawful and the heck with the good citizens of Scranton who follow the law and work hard to pay their bills. That concludes the citizens' comments.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Reed. Just on the question, I want to thank everyone who submitted public comment. Ms. Franis had submitted several questions last week. I do have an answer to one of them. We're still waiting on some of the other answers here to her questions, but one question was, when is the last time ECTV received money from Comcast, the franchise money, if ever? We did receive I asked the city controller today and he responded that the last payment dispersed to ECTV from the city per the Comcast cable franchise agreement was $56,657 in 2019. And hopefully by next week, we'll have answers to all of the other questions. Anyone else on the question? All those in favor of the motion to accept public comment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it and so moved. Mrs. Reed?
Fifth order, 5A motions.
Thank you, Mrs. Reed. Councilman Schuster, do you have any motions or comments at this time?
I do. We asked for, we got an update for July 23rd on the following audit work that has been completed so far. Our payroll test of controls and the pension census testing are completed, and the census data for OPEB plans have been received. The HR department has the items we selected for testing ready, but have not determined a date to return the completed testing. And then all of the other outstanding items that were noted in the last update are still outstanding.
Anything else?
No, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Councilman McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments at this time?
I actually do. I have two. As chairman of the Public Safety Committee, I would like to just say that my thoughts and prayers go out to the Scranton Fire Department, the first firefighter that tested positive and the other firefighters that were identified through contact tracing. I pray all is well with them and their families. Secondly, I would also like to make mention of Chris Kelly's article the other day on Kenneth Bond. Bond states that he's not going anywhere. So well, guess what? I'm ready to send this guy packing. So I know that past administrations, along with the solicitor in 2019, stated they were going to explore options. I also know that last year council, the current council, made some suggestions and wanted to do, corrective actions. I think the exploration process should be over by now. This guy owes 74 grand in back taxes, 152,000 in delinquent garbage fees. He illegally rents apartments of properties not registered with the city, nor have had official inspection. He claims both are satisfied. The city claims no. I realize that the current mayor administration are working to fix this broken system. I also get the fact that displaced tenants might need a little help. But Mr. Bond has expressed excuses, loopholes, and the 11th hour checks to pay back taxes to live another day, or actually another year, I should say. So I believe the citizens of this city that pay their taxes and garbage fees, along with my colleagues, deserve some answers, like the next step or action plan, and maybe some more explanation. So what I would like to ask is President Gaughan and or Mrs. Reed, would you invite administration and maybe the new blight task force to come to a caucus and explain, give us an update. What has changed? What has not changed? What do we do moving forward? So, because the citizens that do, like I said earlier, that pay their taxes, pay their garbage fee, they deserve some answers, along with myself, because it's not clear, and I have to read it in an article, and then I don't want to read it again a year from now, the same article, and that's what continues to happen. So if that correspondence could be sent, I'd be very happy. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman McAndrew. Dr. Rothchild, do you have any motions or comments at this time?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there in caucus, I had mentioned there's a piece of legislation we tabled before we went on our August recess, and I wanted to send additional correspondence to the administration. We had some questions. It was regarding the proposed plan for an exploration committee for municipal Department of Health, and I think we had some concerns about if that was something that the city would be able to do. And I think the history behind it too, if we, when we had a Department of Health previously. Yeah, and that was all.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Rothchild and Councilman Donahue. Do you have any motions or comments at this time?
Just to add to what Mr. McAndrew said a little bit, back in, I think it was the end of June, early July, when we were told that the administration wasn't going to go ahead with the review of the LIPS department. We were told that the new business administrator was going to look into the processes. So to add on to Mark's too, if the administration does come in, I would also like an update on where we are in terms of modernizing the LIPS department, and also what strategies we're going to implement in terms of quality of life, because driving around some of the neighborhoods in the city, there's major quality of life issues and they're only getting worse. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilman Donahue. I just have a few things tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The first, I just would like to request from the OECD director, if possible, an update on the status of projects that were funded through the 2020 action plan with CDBG money. And then what date will OECD start accepting applications for the 2021 CDBG funding? So Mrs. Reed, if you can just send a note to the OECD director requesting that information, I would appreciate it. As I mentioned in the caucus, we did receive responses on the Serenity Center from the business administrator. So just want to say that I appreciate that. Solicitor Hayes was talking about the LGN trucking issue that, or LNG trucking issue that has come up in Clark Summit. And I don't know, we're still trying to figure out if that route goes directly through Scranton, but if it doesn't, it goes right, alongside of us on Interstate 81. And I do think that it's important for council to stand with Clark Summit and any of the other boroughs that are going to be affected from this in Lackawanna County. The plan is to ship a very, very large amount of liquefied natural gas by truck through Lackawanna County. And from the plans that I saw, that would mean that there'd be an additional 800 heavy trucks a day coming through our community here. We're already dealing with the effects of having a landfill in our community. The last thing that we need is 800 more trucks coming through Lackawanna County and all of the issues that that would bring. So I do support a resolution standing with Clark Summit and any of the other boroughs that are going to stand against that. And I think that would be good for the city and good for Lackawanna County. So I appreciate Solicitor Hayes looking into that. Also, I talked in the caucus about scheduling, and I think we did send out a request to schedule a meeting with the administration to update council on the financial projections. The last time we had the previous business administrator in was June 10th, 2020, and basically gave us a very sobering look at that point where we might stand looking forward to the end of the year. I think the projections were between a $6 to $10 million deficit. So I think we're due for another update to see where now we stand due to the new numbers that have come in and the new financial figures that have come into the city. So I'm looking forward to that. The other thing that's been talked about now for quite some time is an RFP that it was supposed to go out for the last several months, from what I understand, for engineering services regarding stormwater runoff issues in Kaiser Valley. So, Mrs. Reed, if you can connect with the law department or the mayor's office to find out where exactly that is and when that is going to go out. On top of that, I would like to request a meeting with Herbert, Rowland, and Grubik. Herbert, Rowland, and Grubik, I've brought their name up before. They're a company that the city hired in July of 2019, and they were supposed to work with the city and are working with the city on a pollution reduction plan and helping us comply with the pollution reduction requirements by the EPA. They were also going to help the city determine the best management practices that we should implement to maintain our MS4 permit. And also we're going to work with the city to explore the feasibility and benefits of managing stormwater on a regional basis. Last week when we had the mayor and this topic came up, and I was a little bit concerned that it didn't seem like maybe we were where we should be in regards to stormwater management. I do know that, you know, we're facing a pandemic and all the other things that came with it, but I am very concerned about stormwater management throughout the city. As all of us on council know, and since I've been on council, one of the major complaints that we get is about water runoff, whether it be in Kaiser Valley, East Mountain, Manuka, North Scranton, you name it. There are really, really unbelievable infrastructure issues that are going to cost an awful lot of money. So I do think now, after asking quite a few times for different updates, I think we should just reach out directly to this company that the city hired and ask them to come in and give us an update on where they stand and what those options look like, what the feasibility and benefits of managing stormwater would be on a regional basis, and where we are in that process, and what the timeline looks like. So Mrs. Reed, if you can find the contact information for that company and reach out to them so that we can get them into a council meeting. And that's all I have this week. Thank you.
Thank you. 5B, for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to enter into a cooperation agreement with Lackawanna County for reimbursement for COVID-19 related expenses under the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, CARES Act, Public Law 116-136, and more particularly grant monies made available through the COVID-19 County Relief Block Grant Program.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5B be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5C for introduction, a resolution approving in accordance with Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended, a plan of financing of the Scranton-Lackawanna Health and Welfare Authority, and declaring that it is desirable for the health, safety, and welfare of the people of the city of Scranton for the Scranton-Lackawanna Health and Welfare Authority to undertake a project for Scranton Preparatory School.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5C be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5D for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Barry Isett and Associates Incorporated to provide engineering services for the City of Scranton 2020 roadway improvement project.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question? On the question, I would just like to request, Mrs. Reed, if you can, before final passage of this legislation, a copy of the bid sheets where the other, I think, 9 bidders came in at, and then If possible, is there a street list yet that has been created, the paving street list? I'd appreciate a copy of that if it's available. Anyone else on the question? All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
Sixth order, 6A, reading by title, file of the council number 20, 2020, an ordinance approving and accepting the City of Scranton capital budget for the year 2021 pursuant to Section 904 of the city's Home Rule Charter.
You've heard reading by title of item 6A. What is your pleasure?
I move that item 6A pass reading by title.
Is there a second?
Second,
On the question?
on the question, I'd like to make a motion to table this item.
We're gonna introduce, or we're gonna pass this in sixth order, Councilman Schuster, and then we're gonna make the motion.
I got you.
Okay. Anyone else on the question? I did have a request that we submitted last week on the capital budget, and that was basically just to kind of define what in the capital budget is there money already allocated for. So I know that the business administrator is working on putting something together. So we'll eventually supplement that with this legislation. I know there's other people that are interested in that as well. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved. And now you're up, Tom.
I'd like to make a motion to table item 6A.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second to table item 6A. This piece of legislation is being tabled to allow for a public hearing to be held on the capital budget next Tuesday, September 15th, 2020 at 5:45 p.m. On the question? On the question, if anyone would like to comment specifically on the capital budget agenda item 6A tonight, please submit your comments in writing to our city clerk, Lori Reed. You can email them to lreed@scrantonpa.gov, or you can mail them to 340 North Washington Avenue, second floor, city clerk's office. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
6B, reading by title, file of the council number 21, 2020. An ordinance authorizing the City of Scranton to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the County of Lackawanna and the County of Lackawanna Tax Claim Bureau, whereby the responsibility and right to collect delinquent real estate taxes from the City of Scranton shall be transferred from the City of Scranton to the Lackawanna County Tax Claim Bureau.
You've heard reading by title of item 6B. What is your pleasure?
I move that item 6B pass reading by title.
Second.
On the question? On the question, as I mentioned last week, this is a long time coming. It makes total sense. It should have been done a long time ago. I'm glad that we finally had this on our agenda. I do think that there's some things that need to be ironed out between the city and the county in terms of what we talked about tonight in the caucus, with the county potentially collecting not only the delinquent real estate taxes, but the delinquent refuse fees as well. So there does, according to Attorney O'Brien, have to be a mechanism in which the refuse fee is placed within the real estate tax bill, which I know was under discussion last year in 2019, but for whatever reason did not occur. So I think that it's incumbent upon the administration to make sure that everything is in place, that the refuse fee, if it needs to be included in the real estate tax bill, that's done, and all the people that need to be in a room together or over the phone or over Zoom or whatever are all on the same page, so there are no hiccups as we've seen in the past. So I'm hopeful that that will happen, and we'll have final passage next week. Anyone else on the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
Seventh order, 7A, for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption. Resolution number 52, 2020. Appointment of Mary Beth Mikulajczyk, 413 Arthur Avenue, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 18510, as a member of the Scranton Municipal Recreation Authority. Ms. Mikulajczyk will be replacing Kathleen Gallagher, who resigned June 18, 2020. Ms. Mikulajczyk will be appointed to a 5-year term effective July 9, 2020, and will expire on June 18, 2025.
Bill, you're muted.
That's why nobody's responding, apparently. As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7A.
Second.
There you go. On the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Gaughan.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7A legally and lawfully adopted.
7B, for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption. Resolution number 53, 2020. Appointment of Michael Hanley, 800 Woodlawn Street, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 18509, as a member of the Board of the Scranton Redevelopment Authority for a 5-year term effective July 10, 2020. Mr. Hanley will be replacing Gene Tesarovich, whose term expired February 4, 2020. Mr. Hanley's term will expire on February 4, 2025.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7B.
Second.
On the question.
On the question, I'd just like to thank Mr. Tesarovich for his service on the on this board, and it was nice to have a neighborhood association president on a board, and I'm sure Mr. Hanley will do a nice job.
Anyone else on the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Gaughan.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7B legally and lawfully adopted.
7C, for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption. Resolution number 54, 2020. Appointment of William King, 1310 Ridgewood Avenue, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 18505, as a member of the Scranton City Planning Commission for a 4-year term effective July 13, 2020. William King will be replacing Thomas J. Galella Jr., whose term expired. William King's term will expire on December 31, 2024.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7C.
Second.
On the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Gaughan.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7C legally and lawfully adopted.
7D, for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption. Resolution number 55, 2020. Reappointment of Joseph A. Murphy, 610 Depot Street, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 18509, as a member of the Scranton City Planning Commission effective July 14, 2020. Mr. Murphy's prior term expired on December 31, 2015, and was held over for a full 4-year term expiring December 31, 2019. His new term will expire on December 31, 2023.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7D.
Second.
On the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Gaughan.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7D legally and lawfully adopted.
7E, for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption. Resolution number 56, 2020, appointment of Norma Jeffries, 619 Colfax Avenue, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 18510, as a member of the Scranton Municipal Recreation Authority, effective July 21, 2020. Ms. Jeffries will be replacing Paul D'Antona, who resigned July 2, 2020. Ms. Jeffries will fill the unexpired term of Paul D'Antona, which is scheduled to expire on June 17, 2024.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7E.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Dr. Rothschild,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Gaughan.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7E legally and lawfully adopted.
7F for consideration by the Committee on Rules for adoption. Resolution number 57, 2020, appointment of Jane Rissy, 1707 East Gibson Street, Scranton, Pennsylvania, 18510, as a member of the Scranton City Planning Commission, effective July 29, 2020, for a 4-year term. Ms. Rissy will be replacing James Thomas, whose term expired. Jane Rissy's term will expire on December 31, 2024.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7F.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Dr. Rothschild,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Gaughan.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7F legally and lawfully adopted.
7G for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption. Resolution number 58, 2020, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Urban Electrical Contractors Incorporated to perform maintenance of streetlights for a 24-month period.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7G.
Is there a second?
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Dr. Rothschild,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Gaughan.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7G legally and lawfully adopted.
7H for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption. Resolution number 59, 2020, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with A&M Electrical Construction Incorporated to provide maintenance of traffic signalization for the city of Scranton for a 2-year period.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7H.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew,
Yes.
Dr. Rothschild,
Yes.
Mr. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Gaughan.
Yes, I hereby declare item 7H legally and lawfully adopted. If there's no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everyone. This meeting's adjourned. Stay safe. See everybody next week.